Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel I created some time ago as a platform for encouragement. We can't get enough encouragement in life. It's always something that's needed at all times. So let's get straight into what I will be speaking about today. Based on how the world is going now, I don't know if there are persons that feel led to see what are the signs of the coming of the end of time. Well, I've done that recently. I've always heard about the signs of the coming of the end, but I actually went into scripture to actually see, and I came across Matthew 24. I won't be going into all that this chapter entails today, but I implore you to go and read what Matthew 24 says. Today I will basically be highlighting verse 14 of Matthew 24, which basically states, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." Is it that in some way we are delaying the coming of Christ by not sharing the gospel of Jesus? What is the gospel? I've looked into the definition of the gospel, and the thing that's common among all the definitions is basically good news of salvation. So we are to bear the good news of salvation of Christ. And this we are to do as a witness. What does a witness mean? Basically, as proof unto all nations. So it didn't say as a proof to some nations, basically all nations. And then shall the end come. So I asked myself, so how will this gospel be preached to all nations? And what came to me is that what happened during COVID-19, as is good and is bad. There are a lot of things that happened during COVID-19 that basically sets the stage or the beginning of the platform that they will use to escalate things towards the time of trouble, as we would say. But it also has its good, because during COVID-19 we actually utilized the internet even more. You have churches going online that were not previously online. So this is the good side of what the internet has done post-COVID. And so I look at it as a means of sharing the gospel to all nations. We won't be able to go on foot every single nook and cranny in this world, but we can utilize the internet as a means of sharing the gospel. And we see that the gospel has been reaching places that it has never reached before because of the use of the internet. So how can you as a person find ways in order to share the gospel? We are on social media every single day. Some persons will say, I don't do social media, I don't go on social media, but we can actually use it as a means of sharing the gospel. That's how I look at it. So what are we using the social media platforms to do, right? Are we elevating the cause of Christ on our media platforms? It's something that we should really be thinking about, because not everyone will be able to go every single where, but you do a video, it can actually go very far, right? So when we actually do the sharing of the gospel, it says, and then the end will come. Do you want to go home? Do you want to go home to meet the Lord anytime soon? I surely do. And I actually looked into ways that we can share the gospel other than using, sharing what God has done for us, or, highlighting things about Christ on the social media. I came up with 5 ways to share the gospel. First of all, we are to draw closer to God ourselves. Once you draw closer to God, then that will allow your light to shine, right? The Lord's light and joy will shine from within you. We're to fill our hearts with love for others. If you're not able to love others, then how are you going to share the gospel, the good news of salvation, that God is willing to save persons from their sin and to take them home, right? We have to develop a love for persons. We are to let our life be a living testimony. So not everybody will be able to, go on the pulpit and preach. Not everybody will be able to do what I'm trying to do, to build my confidence in speaking to persons about Christ in the way that I can, right? But living a life is the greatest proof of God's love for us and His plan of salvation. When persons can actually see that God has done something in your life, isn't that enough proof, enough testimony? Right? Another thing that we can do is to explain Jesus in simple terms. There are some persons who go about explaining, the plan of salvation in very complex ways, but we can be simple about it depending on person's level of understanding. And most of all, well, this should actually be first, we are to ask God for help. And God will show us the way, right? There are some persons, words and explanation will do it, but there are other persons that just living a life, will allow them to see who God is, right? So basically, we are to employ whatever ways we see possible based on the context that we're in, but we should all be trying to preach the gospel so that the end can come and this world can be, we can leave this world and go to heaven to live with God, right? So let us bear these things in mind, right? I'm not a preacher, right? But I just find it fit to actually try to bring these things to light in whatever way I can. And everyone can do their part, all right? So that we can all go home to be with God very soon. So I am not supposed to be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I should want to share Jesus, right? Listen to the words of this song. We're an anchor for those who are hurting. We're a harbor for those who are lost. Sometimes it's not always easy bearing Calvary's cross. We've been ridiculed by those who don't know Him, and mocked by those who don't believe. Still I love standing up for my Jesus, 'cause of all that He's done for me. That's why I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. No, I am not afraid to be counted, but I'm willing to give my life. See, I'm ready to be what He wants me to be, giving up wrong for the right. I am not afraid of the gospel of Jesus Christ. No, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ.